wanted to start this by saying how difficult it is to make lists like this, especially for TV shows, seeing as how there's so many good shows now. So I thought to myself,
too much content.
Yeah, I thought to myself when I was making this list, what was good enough in 2021 where I told other people that they should be watching these shows? Shows where I was excited to watch more episodes. Or as someone who doesn't usually binge stuff, we've even been excited to watch multiple episodes very quickly or even in a row. Let's begin. All right, my number 10 is Invincible. Was it the best superhero show this year? No. Was it the best animated show this year? Still no. But as someone that has read a lot of issues of Invincible, to me, it nails the feel of the comic. It's sort of a run-of-the-mill superhero story about a kid dealing with his double life of being a superhero and attending high school while hiding it from his friends, kind of like Spider-Man. That's probably why the guy who wrote this named his kid Peter Parker. Except this kid's dad is the world's most powerful superhero, so he has large expectations and big shoes to fill. It's got a lot of plot points I think other shows, even some by the same creator, would have taken seasons plural to get to. I don't know if you remember when the Walking Dead series basically spent an entire season with the characters hiding in a barn. But Invincible gets to it. I mean, like, I did not expect episode 1 to end the way it did. And boy, did that make for some exciting moments in that season. Some tense moments throughout, too. Even though I knew where they were going, and it was still great. And that's great memes, too, from that show. My number 9 is a show that you're either going to love or hate, but it is I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson, a comedy show.
I did not write that on my list of shows that I watched because I forgot.
Yeah.
And when I was going through my Netflix history, it was there, but I didn't I don't know. I didn't catalog that one, but that might have top 10 for me. I'm not sure where.
Season 2 was 2021. I was like, holy fucking shit, man. The fedora with safari flaps. I cried during that scene. I watched it again and I still like nearly cried. I could rewatch some of these sketches and the setup will make me laugh because I know where it's going. Mm-hmm. You know, it's absurdist humor, so not everyone's going to get it, or it's not going to hit for everybody. Especially not everything. Like, not everything in this show is going to make everybody laugh, but when it does, it's like on another level.
Some of it gets a little old, but most sketch shows have misses.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying. Like, not everything
has misses.
Not everything's going to hit for everybody, but when it hits hard.
Yeah. So what's your 8?
My 8 is Dave on FX by way of
I've been
Hulu,
meaning to watch this. Which
this is going to sound weird. But I want to compare the first 2 seasons of Dave to the first 2 Godfather movies.
Okay.
Okay, so before I saw the first 2 Godfather movies, which I think I saw in high school, one of my friends told me the first is pretty great throughout. The second is not as great throughout, but the ending is amazing. That's how I feel about the first 2 seasons of Dave.
Okay.
It was just a show about a white rapper in LA that many people take as a joke, who's like trying to prove himself as like the real deal, kind of, but it's not. Never really like too serious in that regard, but it sort of also is without being like melancholic.
Okay.
So the beginning of season 2, which is the 2021 season, the first season was 2020. It's pretty good, but some of them are like meh. The last 2 episodes, however, I would say would probably be in my both of them would be in my top 5 episodes of 2021 entirely.
Okay.
It's an amazing finish. The premise of the show is kind of like dumb and sophomoric of an idea, which it can be at times because there's like dick and fart jokes. Like the first song is "My Dick Sucks," but how his dick is bad. You know, Dave is kind of a toast to believing in yourself and being your biggest fan, but also getting out of your own way and ultimately doing what's best for the people you love. That's what I took from it, so I loved it. My number 7 was Netflix's Arcane.
Okay, the League of Legends show.
Yeah, this was the best animated show of 2021. It's also one of the best looking animated shows probably ever. Yeah, if you heard about this, that it was based on League of Legends and expected to be bad, I don't blame you, but damn, you were wrong. Arcane deals with the difference between classes of people in the same region better than most non-animated shows do. It kind of reminds me of the political dynamic between the people of the North and the tribes beyond the wall in Game of Thrones. Because they were always like, oh, they called the people that lived in the North, even though they were in the North, they were below the wall. So to them, they were Southerners, and they had like a dynamic where they kind of hated each other because like one was obviously more better off than the other. But yeah, feeling like you're being stepped on with people that were born better off than you and you think you're inferior. That's kind of like a major theme in this. Mm-hmm. And the voice acting is also incredibly good. It didn't need to be this good of a show to be like an animated show based on a video game property, but it did. and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was very surprised, but also I have to ding it if there's an ability to ding it. So I will. I fucking hate the skip intro button. I think I've mentioned this before because I love TV show intros, especially when they're well done. Do your TV show intro well. It's an Emmy category. Take it seriously. I didn't skip any intro, I think, at all for any of these shows except this one. I was holding the remote waiting to hit skip intro because the song is Imagine Dragons. See, my number 6 is WandaVision.
Ooh.
This was the best superhero show of 2021 because I said Invincible was not. Pretty sure this was also the first hit show of 2021 too. After episode 3 soothed the lame asses that didn't like the first 2 WandaVision episodes, it became a show that gave fans a reason to be excited for Fridays because that's when shows came out on Disney Plus then. It's Wednesdays now. A perfect example of how the weekly release model can be extremely powerful.
Yes.
It kind of pooped itself towards the end, but it was extremely exciting to be a fan of the show in late January/February. Yeah, the different decade of sitcom for each episode idea was fantastic. It deserved all the hype and praise that it got. And just revisit the first 2 episodes if you thought they were bad. Watch some of the shows that they're referenced, the era of that era that are referenced later on if you have to get it. But I promise you, the first 2 are great.
They really are. Like, it was crazy well done. Like, I grew up on Nick at Night being something that was watched regularly in my house. Like the 80s, 90s Nick at Night when it was, Dick Van Dyke and Dobie Gillis and Bewitched and I Love Lucy and all that.
Absolutely,
and those shows just like absolutely knock out of the park with the production, like the color, every single thing was done perfectly. It was awesome.
So good. Especially the first one too, like when they're at the dinner scene and the guy starts choking. I fucking love that scene. But it was so like Twilight Zone-y for me. I was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah. That was the first like peek into something's wrong here.
My 5 is Mayor of Easttown from HBO, which is another shining example of the power of the weekly release. This time it was a whodunit that everyone was trying to figure out at the time. At the same time, there was even an SNL sketch where they made a joke at the end of it about who they thought did it. And by it, I mean the murder of a young mother on a cold night in a small town in Pennsylvania. It's a slow burn at the beginning and it kind of smolders out at the end. But the middle episodes are some of the most thrilling on television in a great year of television. It's like I said, the first episode's pretty slow. Like I told my mom to watch it and I was like, she's not going to finish the first episode, but she, when she got through it, she loved the show. She was like sad it was over.
What's your 4?
My 4 is something that surprised me, which is Squid Game. I remember at some point saying out loud, shit, this is actually pretty good. I think I went into it kind of expecting / hoping for it to be bad. Sometimes you just want the hype to be bullshit so you could feel an air of superiority like over the masses because you didn't fall for their flavor of the week when the flavor was actually shit. But like all the shows on this list that were hyped, the hype was not unwarranted as far as this goes. Squid Game is an often thrilling show that could sometimes be predictable, but it's just flat out good. The Kanbu episode fucked me up especially. And it had some, also I want to point out, it had an opportunity to do some flashback scenes to sort of like show you how the sausage was made when it came to the ending. But they didn't do that, and I really appreciated it.
How did you watch it? Did you watch it with subtitles or did you just watch it with overdubs?
I might have watched the first 2 subbed and dubbed, and then the last like 7 I watched just with in Korean with subs on.
What's your 3?
My 3 is a show you would fucking hate. It is Succession.
Oh yeah, because all the characters suck.
A show about a rich family fighting for control of a Fox News type media empire. So you would hate it. But it's like watching a Royal Rumble wrestling match where every participant is a heel. But some of them are sympathetic enough where you kind of hope they come out of a decent position. But it's also definitely fun to watch them beat on each other.
Okay.
They're all kind of different levels of rich villain, but they all take losses. And that's what we're here for. We're there to watch their misfortune because their slight misfortune is your laughter. Like when a guy accidentally sends a picture of his own dick to his father, that's the head of the company during a meeting. Stuff like that. Those are the moments we watch Succession for. Plus the cast is super good. Like everybody nails their role.
What's your big deuce?
My big deuce aka numero 2, is Hacks, which was the funniest show of 2021 to me. I remember watching an episode and thinking, wow, I love this show, which doesn't happen that often for me. Like while I'm watching something, I'm like, I love this, which is a good sign. And I watched this with my wife, and whenever she asked me what I felt like watching, I would always be like, we should watch Hacks until there were no more episodes left. You know, it's a story of someone early in their career as like a comedy writer and someone late in their career as an older stand-up, kind of learning to work together and then coming to sort of need each other in ways. It's incredibly funny and touching at times. Gene Smart and Hannah Einbinder are just incredibly terrific together. Plus, I'm a sucker for good buddy comedy stuff, which this definitely falls into. And when I made my first draft of this list months ago, Hacks was the number 1, and I had not felt the need to dethrone it until yesterday when I finished what my number 1 show is.
All right, so what's your 1?
My number 1 show of 2021 is Midnight Mass. On Netflix.
Okay. Yep.
Remember when I said Mayor of Easttown was a slow burn?
Yep.
For horror, this shit may be even slower.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, did I fucking love the pace of the show. My God, it's probably the best written and acted drama I've seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Characters pondering love, loss, faith, forgiveness, and their own mortality in such a beautiful way. You will sometimes forget this is supposed to be a horror show. But yeah, I was going to say, I think the people that didn't like this didn't like it because what I've mentioned before, where they're probably like, where are the scares? But if I, a self-proclaimed horror wuss, can not only handle this show, but not think it's scary, then it's definitely not scary. The only knock I have right now is how it's one of those things where if it happened in our world, most people would know what was happening almost immediately. But in this, absolutely no one seems to have an idea, even when the source of the terror is staring at them in the face. But I think that might be on purpose, and I think they did that because it's a reference to how faith can sometimes blind you, and how now more than ever,
this is happening in our world right now.
Yeah, like
except
now,
except for the supernatural part.
Now more than ever, like figuratively, someone will piss on someone else's leg and be like, "It's raining," and then that person will be like, "You're right, it's raining."
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, no one even suggests what's actually going on in the show. But I mean, still, it's truly a beautiful show. I think the secret horror here lies in how heavy the last episode can get. Am I going to regret putting this as my number 1 the day after I finish watching it? Maybe, because I have established that sometimes the more I think about something, the less I like it. But
you established a hard recency bias like 3 weeks ago. Yeah,
I don't anticipate that here. I've been thinking about it a lot. Okay. I mean, I started it like a few days ago too, and I finished it yesterday. And I would say the ending, even though one of the final scenes, fucking so good. The dialogue is so well written. But yeah, I think that's a conversation we'll have in 11 months. But there are scenes in Midnight Mass that I'm pretty sure I'll be thinking about for the rest of my life.
Okay.
And that's why it's my top show of 2021.
There we go.